Come on, come in. Welcome, welcome.
What's going on, everyone? How's it going? Sorry I missed the stream yesterday. Just some life. How's it going? How's everyone doing? Where's everyone coming from? I want to know that. I know we got some UK people, some Nevada people, Hawaii. You're glad I missed. Never tried a Monday morning stream. Yeah, good to see you guys. Arizona, Indiana, nice. Florida, Thailand, 11 p.m. in Thailand. Love that. Hungary, England, Ohio, Texas. Man, we got everyone. For the tissues, $5 for the tissues. Oh no, is this gonna be a sad chapter? Does Pippin die in this chapter? Colorado, Sweden, Hobart. Where's Hobart? Ontario, Serbia, New Zealand. What time is it in New Zealand right now? West Africa, 5 p.m. in West Africa. That's not bad. Right after work, love that. Got some Netherlands people. That's where my heritage is from. Love that. Tasmania, man, we got people from everywhere. That's crazy. Oregon, Toronto, 5 a.m. in New Zealand. Crazy. You guys are crazy. Japan, love that. 1 a.m. in Japan. sorry for the Asian contingent watching these. It's hard to do. Every once in a while I'll do like a late night stream or something like that. It'll be morning for you guys. But how's it going, everyone? Philly. Yeah, that's not too far from me. Not too many New Yorkers here. I'm not really a New Yorker. I'm from the great country of New Jersey. But how's it going, everyone? Again, apparently it's a sad chapter today, so I'm excited, but I don't know. I still think I have 2 essays to write about the previous one, or not really essays, like just things I need to talk about, because I still want to write or talk about the last chapter. Just I don't know what to do after the last chapter. The last chapter was just so gutting. I don't know. I still don't know where to go. I'm like lost. Like I don't know. But I'm curious if this chapter is going to be, I don't know what the field of Cormallen is or where the field of Cormallen is. I'm guessing, I mean, that's probably a read and find out. I'm guessing we actually did get a lot of snow in Jersey. It's really snowy out. Not a lot, but we probably got like 4 to 5 inches. So that's not that much, to be honest. But it's freezing today and it's freezing tomorrow. So that snow is just powder right now. It's like perfect. I was walking in it, taking Wes for a walk this morning. And I was thinking it is like perfect skiing or snowboarding. I don't really ever go. I used to go when I was in high school, but not so much anymore. But we never get that kind of snow because it always snows and then kind of gets warm. We have like, the snow here is kind of gross sometimes. But anyway, I was saying this chapter, I don't know what's going to happen in this chapter. I don't know where Cormallen is. I'm guessing it's somewhere in Mordor, but I don't know. And I think something that I am curious of is where this chapter is going to go. If this chapter, it could be potentially the field of Cormallen might be like the Black Gate field. Maybe that's called the field of Cormallen. And it might go up, take us back to that. So I don't know. We'll see. Michael, thanks for the $10. Can't stay long. You're going to love Gimli for something he does. Yeah, I was actually really curious. I had no idea what to do for a thumbnail for this chapter. I was just totally lost. And I was like, maybe I'll just do Frodo like dying on that rock. I have no idea what this chapter is going to entail. I feel like I'm going to be lost from this point on. So we'll see. This snow was interesting. When it first was snowing, it was good for building snowmen, and now I feel like it got too cold and it's just powder again, which is weird. I feel like snow doesn't really turn into that, but it was a nice walk this morning. I took Wes for a whole park walk, and it was beautiful, very idyllic. Also, everyone, like the stream. Faye. Let's Faye. Faye, Faye, Faye. One of the reasons the book is preferable to the movie is in this chapter. Crazy to see someone who doesn't know what the Field of Cormallen is. Yeah, I don't think we've come across it in the books. I don't think we have. We might have, but it's possible we have, but I don't think we have. So we'll see. Revenant, thanks for the gifted membership. You're the best. Welcome, welcome. Everyone like the video. So I don't have to say it that often. The more like this is, the happier I am. No, that's not really true. I just like doing this just to do this. You don't know and you're not a first time reader? I love that. Field of Cormallen is Farmer Maggot's cornfield. His nickname is Cormallen. That's great. They go all the way back there, and Farmer Maggot comes and defeats every other ounce of evil in this world because he's incredible. I was just gonna say something, but I totally forgot. I'm gonna start to do some essays on classics that I'm gonna read. I'm gonna attempt to read a classic a month. I don't have the channel set up yet, but I'm gonna set up another channel. So I don't know how I'm gonna manage all this, but we're gonna figure it out. I'm not gonna post regularly on all of them, but I just like writing essays and talking about books. So I'm gonna do that more. But I'm gonna set up one that's a classics channel, and I'm going to start with Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, I don't want to put classics on this channel. That's probably the last channel I'm going to start for a long time. Lord of the Rings is a classic, but this is a specifically Lord of the Rings channel. My goal is to have 7 channels, so there's 7 Horcruxes. Or maybe I have 9 channels, and then I become a ring wraith. And this is the one channel to rule them all. But yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen in this chapter. I don't know where they're going to go from here. I thought it was going to be the moment that they have outside. Maybe Sam and Frodo share more beautiful moments, but I don't know. Pride and Prejudice is second favorite behind Lord of the Rings. Wow. High praise. I read Pride and Prejudice a really long time ago and don't remember that much of it, but I know some of it. But it's essentially like a first time read for me, because I don't remember really much about it. I remember the movies, and I think Keira Knightley is a terrible Lizzie, but you're going to scrutinize all my takes? Good, I like that. Your brother loves Pride and Prejudice? 7 Dwarven Rings. That's right, I could. It'd be kind of sick. I've heard Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is actually kind of good. Jennifer L is for sure superior to Keira Knightley. Although Keira Knightley is she's playing Umbridge in the Harry Potter audiobook, which is such a great pick. I love that idea. But Jennifer L is definitely my Lizzie. Although what's the older sister's name? Whoever plays her in the Rosamund Pike, I think, plays her in the next one. She plays her so good. Jane, that's right. Rosamund Pike plays Jane, I thought so good. But again, I'm curious to read that book and like actually talk about it. So I'm going to just probably start like streams, or start potentially doing like a classic a month or something. The Audible audiobook is by Rosamund Pike. I love that. Wow. Streaming, I don't know how long. This chapter doesn't seem as long as the other ones. Maybe there's like a 2.5 hour long stream around there. Yeah, this chapter doesn't seem crazy long compared to some of the others. I don't know what we're going to talk about in this chapter. I don't know what's going to happen. The Princess Bride. I hear people say that The Princess Bride, that is the only time a movie is better than a book. Darcy had a massive forehead in that one. Jennifer L. reading the books on YouTube, or the book on YouTube. That's incredible. I love that. Death comes to Pemberley. Just got a video suggestion from YouTube. Why the Lord of the Rings is more believable than the flat Earth theory. Honestly, that is a great video title. I love that. I need to look that up. So I read The Count of Monte Cristo is one of the books that got me into a love of reading. But I don't remember a lot of the details of that. But I just remember how it was more about justice than about revenge. Because the movie, the Guy Pearce movie, is that the Guy Pearce? No, the what's his name? The American movie that came out a long time ago. That was all about revenge, and it just was so satisfying. And then I read the book and was shocked at how different it was. But I love the story of that, and it'd be fun to reread that. So I'm gonna come up with like a list of good classics, and then we'll get into them. Also, I'm gonna paste the Discord link if anybody wants to join Discord. Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce. That's right. Guy Pearce is in it. Yeah, I haven't done any Sherlock Holmes. Again, my reading life, like I was a big reader, but I read modern literature, like people who had not died yet. Like I would just read I would just scour the Pulitzer Prize winners, and like, do you guys know the book like American's Best Short Stories or whatever? I used to scour that, and if I found an author or a short story that I really liked, I would just read their work. So I found a few good authors from it. I found one guy that I really liked. His short story was one of the best short stories I've ever read. But then I read some of his books, and they were not good. I didn't like him at all. Haven't started the reading yet, but I will start back soon. No, you don't need to go back. We're going to start the reading in 5 minutes. We'll start at 11:20, maybe. I always say that, but then we end up chatting for another 45 minutes, but we won't chat for that long today. And Moologist! Welcome to the Hot Tamales. I see your name pop up all the time in the comments. I love your comments. I love all your guys' comments. I try to read most of them. I don't have a ton of time to respond, but I might start responding now because I have voice responses, which I don't know if that's going to work that well. But I might. I'm like, as I'm going for walks, just respond via voice. Yeah, I definitely. If I do Beowulf, I'll probably do it on this channel. Should I read that? Should I read Tolkien's? Didn't Tolkien translate Beowulf, or did he just write the prefix on it? Nandela, what's up? First Lord of the Rings live read. Welcome. Everyone, Nandela's like an OG member of this channel. The ring wound up destroying itself. That's one of the videos that I want to still make. I don't think so, but I understand how people get there. I haven't read William Morris. Are you getting the other first timers for impressions? What do you mean? The other first timers for impressions. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've heard that's great. Some kid I knew in high school read that and loved that. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is so white that you almost lost your ethnicity. Really? The guy that I knew read that was white. You did a great video. Yeah, you guys, as soon as I finish all this stuff, you guys got to send me all these good videos that you have. The Old Time Podcast. So the Old Time Podcast probably is not coming back, unfortunately. Danny is going to probably continue his live read here. And then we're probably going to disband the podcast and just potentially just do a bunch of chat videos and stuff like that, like kind of what we're doing now, which is a bummer, but it was kind of necessary for some stuff that we had going on. I know I keep saying Lizzie's opinions are great. She would probably do some other books, but Yeah. Tolkien did a translation. Well, my favorite chapter so far, A Conspiracy Unmasked. That in my head is just such a lovely chapter. I think A Conspiracy Unmasked was when I read that chapter, I was like, I just fully, like, that was the moment where I think I understood Tolkien is one of the greatest writers alive. Or not alive, living or dead. He's still alive, everyone. So that was the chapter that I kind of really fell in love with. But I'm interested when I finish the books, I'm gonna go through probably what my like top 5 favorite chapters are, and maybe just make a video about my top 5 faves. My top 5 faves. So you're hyped for the next chapter? You simp for another character? Interesting. Yeah, that Tolkien is still alive. It's a conspiracy. He's still alive. Yeah, you guys didn't know he's still alive? Everyone, J.R.R. Tolkien. Watch him. He just walks in frame. You can probably do that with like some kind of, I don't know, some kind of something. Why am I so well lit today? I wouldn't be, because I just have a blind right here. I have 2 windows right here on this side. And it's really good light because it's kind of like cloudy and it's not directly sunny. It's like very overcast today. And I had to draw one of the blinds because it was too sunny. So if I do that right now, I'd be terribly lit. Yeah, AI hologram. No feet. Although my feet are propped up on my chair right now, so like I could just pop them in right there. Could pop them in frame, blurry feet. Then we'll really get some. It's a different kind of YouTube channel. Yeah, I can't ask for my favorite kid. Yeah. This is your second favorite chapter. Favorite is A Scouring of the Shire. Interesting. I do have hobbit feet. Proudfoots. The plural of proudfoot would be proudfoots, not proud feet, right? So they were kind of wrong on the. Probably not. For some of her opinions in the rest of the book, there's just some life stuff was happening, so she might skip out. But that's not for me to talk about too much. Where's your drink? I want to be terribly lit. But I will. I'm gonna probably, if like the classics channel, I think is gonna become like a book club. So whenever I set that up, I'll set that up probably later today. This chapter is heavy on the feels. Oh man. But I'll probably set that up later today, and if you want, that's gonna be like a book club. We're gonna do the Pride and Prejudice first. So if you want to like read that with me, I don't know, like a book a month might be a little bit ambitious right now, but I'll probably like do a book like Pride and Prejudice, maybe try to do that in a month, and just do a bunch of quick essays on that. Cecilia, come on. Coming in and roasting me. Cecilia's another OG member, guys. Back in the Harry Potter days. It's 20. Have we started reading yet? Nope, but we'll start writing it right now. Yeah, Scouring the Shire. I hear it's a great chapter. Don't know much about it. I have my guesses. One drink every time I cry. Alrighty. We're gonna start the read. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. I feel a sneeze coming. Oh, man. Look in the Discord. I'll look a little bit later. I'm gonna start the read now. Actually, let me just look. Hold on one second. I gotta change something up with the stream real quick. I need to get the Gondor and the Rohan flags out for this chapter. Ah, all right. Just finished Return of the King. It's funny. There's a few comments that people are talking about how like there's one that I saw yesterday or this morning that was like I didn't read Lord of the Rings, and then all of a sudden I saw some of your videos, and I'm getting into it right now. I feel so honored by that. Some people are really like starting to reread or read the books for the first time because of some random videos that I'm doing on Lord of the Rings and how good I think it is. All right, Rip Rippin'. Let's start reading. This is the Field of Cormallen, chapter 4. Not a crazy long chapter, actually. This one, man, I'm actually I don't love short chapters. Actually, yeah, I like a really long chapter. But hey, we'll just chill. The rest of the books is totally left out. This is gonna be so interesting. I feel like I'm gonna have so many essays to write. There's also yeah, I gotta figure out. I'll probably do some kind of maybe the next chapter, and then maybe take a break until the new year. Maybe the next chapter next week, and then do some what's it called? Like Letters from Father Christmas and some other random stuff. Just catch up. Enjoy life, and then do it. I inspired you to read Lord of the Rings for the first time? I love that so much. I feel so honored. I love that so much. All right, Rusty Gunner. Guys, relax. I'm going to start reading. Also, one thing, real quick, I have to do this. I have to just mention this because this was a potential issue that I ran into. I have to make sure that I chat a sufficient amount to bypass copyright. I know I'm just teasing you guys right now. Not that I'm chatting because of the reason that I'm trying to bypass copyright issues, but if I'm just this can't be an audiobook, so I have to insert a lot of my commentary, which I think is just really fun, and I think that's why you guys are really here in the first place. But I had a flagged video that came up. One of the very first reads that I did. It wasn't a live read. It was just a video. And I had some issues with that. Your commute takes over 1.5 hours. I think we can pull it off. I think so. Let's go. Welcome, Gravel Nerd. You're going to make a voodoo doll of me. That's a little creepy. Alrighty. We're going to start. Before we start, I'm going to chat for another 5 minutes. Just kidding. Anyway, exactly. Everyone's here. Everyone's not. You guys aren't here because you're listening to me. I'm not a good reader. I just like reading and talking about my stuff. Yeah, it does fall under fair use. I'm pretty convinced of that. Yeah, I'm gonna read the first sentence. I'm gonna go. Oh, let's talk about this for 5 minutes. Yeah, I forced the read and find out chance. You guys. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to start reading. This is the Field of Cormallen, chapter 4. All about the hills, the hosts of Mordor raged. Now, real quick, I'm curious if... I don't think there's going to be the same thing that happened in the books or in the movies where like the earth swallowed up all of the evil people. Just a quick thing. Let's keep reading. I think it's going to just be like different than that. The captains of the West were foundering in a gathered sea. The sun gleamed red, and under the wings of the Nazgul the shadows of death fell upon the dark earth. Aragorn stood beneath his banner, silent and stern, as one lost in thought of things long past or far away. But his eyes gleamed like stars that shone in the brighter stars that shine the brighter as the night deepens. That's a weird line. Aragorn stood beneath his banner, silent and stern, as one lost in thought of things long past or far away. but his eyes gleam like stars that shine the brighter as the night deepens. It's an interesting line because I was just talking about this with my friend who was watching Game of Thrones for the first time. Not to talk about Game of Thrones, but it reminds me of Jon Snow, where he seems to revel in things that he hates, which sounds weird. Like, he doesn't like battle and fighting and killing, but he's good at it, and he seems to be like prime. I don't think this is really what Aragorn is. I think maybe this is just the hope in his eyes. But like, your eyes gleaming, or maybe this is the hope that cannot be taken from him. That's a really interesting line. I need to analyze that line. I don't know necessarily what that means. Yeah, I think it's resolve. I think it's the resolve that he has. Like, he's resolved. Like, he has hope when all other things have kind of like fallen. Trig, you literally just made it. I just finished. I haven't even finished the first paragraph yet. So, yeah, 2 sentences in. 2 sentences in, and we've been chatting for 5 minutes about those 2 sentences. Upon the hilltop stood Gandalf, and he was white and cold, and no shadow fell on him. That's another interesting line. The onslaught of Mordor broke like a wave on the beleaguered hills, voices roaring like a tide amid the wreck and crash of arms. As if to his eyes some sudden vision had been given, Gandalf stirred, and he turned, looking back north where the skies were pale and clear. Then he lifted up his hands and cried in a loud voice ringing above the din, "The eagles are coming!" This is when Pippin dies. And many voices answered, crying, "The eagles are coming! The eagles are coming!" The hosts of Mordor looked up and wondered what this sign might mean. There came Gwaihir, the Wind Lord. What a cool name, the Wind Lord. Pippin becomes an Eagle Scout. Gwaihir, the Wind Lord. The Landroval his brother, and Landroval his brother, greatest of all eagles of the north, mightiest of the descendants of old Thorondor, who built his eyries in the accessible peaks of the encircling mountains when Middle-earth was young. Landroval, greatest of all eagles of the north. Behind them in long swift lines came all their vassals from the northern mountains, speeding on a gathering wind. Straight down upon the Nazgul they bore, stooping suddenly out of the high airs, and the rush of their wide wings as they passed over was like a gale. Dang, that's kind of cool. Yeah, the idea of them having vassals is weird. I feel like that's a weird terminology to give them. Landroval. Air power for sure. They're airbenders right here. Windlord is the literal translation of Gwaihir. Interesting. Okay. So it's like saying Windlord the Windlord. Landroval. Landroval. Guys, what's the correct pronunciation? Landroval. All right, I'm going to let you guys debate about translation or the pronunciations. But everyone, like the stream. Come on. Duh, everyone. Don't make me say it again. I'm going to keep reading. But the Nazgul turned and fled, and vanished into Mordor's shadows, hearing a sudden terrible call out of the dark tower. And even at that moment, all the hosts of Mordor trembled. Doubt clutched their hearts. Their laughter failed. Their hands shook and their limbs were loosed. The power that drove them on and filled them with hate and fury was wavering. Interesting. Its will was removed from them. And now looking in their eyes, and now looking in the eyes of their enemy, they saw a deadly light and were afraid. Whoa. I did not think necessarily the ring had that. I guess that makes sense. The ring of power has the power to drive its constituents. What is the word? Its hosts with like a madness. It also makes me think, this is going to sound sacrilegious, probably you people who have read it for, years and years and years, but I don't know the text that well. This is almost like an Imperius curse in Harry Potter, where they're kind of controlled to do this. Can you say that orcs are guilty for what they're doing? They're culpable. But if they're driven mad because the will of Sauron is not forcing them to do these things, it's an interesting question. Potentially essay worthy. I'm going to write a little asterisk next to this one because I don't know if I want to talk about that one. I don't know. We had an entire discussion about this yesterday on the server. I love that. Gibby, what's up? Orcs are bad, but they won't willingly go sacrifice themselves. They value their own lives. But the will of the ring pushes them to kamikaze. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Like the ring kind of pushes them to almost like this crazed fae, if you will. Yeah, the influence that Rowling has had on, or that Tolkien has had on Rowling is huge, I think. All right, let's keep reading to the end of this little section. Then all the captains of the West cried aloud. Wait, 1 second. Let me highlight that real quick. For their hearts were filled with a new hope in the midst of darkness. Out from the beleaguered hills, knights of Gondor, riders of Rohan, Dunedain of the North, close-seared companies drove against their wavering foes, piercing the press with thrust of bitter spears. But Gandalf lifted up his arms and called once more in a clear voice. Stand, men of the West, stand and wait. This is the hour of doom. And even as he spoke, the earth rocked beneath their feet. Then rising slowly up, far above the towers of the Black Gate, high above the mountains, a vast soaring darkness sprang into the sky, flickering with life. The earth groaned and quaked. The towers of the Teeth swayed, tottered, and fell down. The mighty rampart crumbled. The Black Gate was hurled in ruin. And from far away, now dim, now growing, now mounting to the clouds, there came a drumming rumble, a roar, a long echoing roll of ruinous noise. A long echoing roll of ruinous noise. That's kind of nice to say. Ruinous noise. This is interesting. Hold on. So the captains of the West, all that whole host, they're winning this battle, and Gandalf says, stand, men of the West, stand and wait. This is the hour of doom. Is he just saying, like, sit back and watch this because he knows what's coming? And then as he's speaking, Mount Doom erupts. He's like, guys, stop fighting. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be cool. You're going to remember this for the rest of your life. How did Gandalf feel that? How did Gandalf know? I think he's wearing an elven ring, no? Benefits of a demigod. Legit. But he is staying standing firm, but the weight is the confusing part for me. So just I guess because he's a Maya. I don't necessarily know what that means yet, but this is the hour of doom. Stand and wait. Okay, let's keep reading. The realm of Sauron is ended, said Gandalf. The ring-bearer has fulfilled his quest. And as the captains gazed south to the lands of Mordor, it seemed to them that, black against the pall of cloud, there arose a huge shape of shadow, impenetrable, lightning-crowned, filling all the sky. Enormous it reared above the world, and stretched out toward them a vast threatening hand, terrible but impotent. For even as it leaned over them, a great wind took it, and it was blown away and passed. And then a hush fell. What the heck? Sauron? Whoa, that's weird. That's the first and only appearance of Sauron. This reminds me of in like Harry Potter when they destroy a Horcrux. Remember when Ron destroys that Horcrux and that weird little thing pops out of it? This is weird. Interesting. What's his name? Ted Naismith does a really interesting image of this. Hold on, let me pop this up. Tolkien stole so much from Rowling. That's a statement that'll make a lot of people mad. Let me look this up real quick because I remember there's an image on this. Tolkien, Return of the King. Here, this. Everyone, take a journey with me. This little sucker. Look at that. That's kind of crazy. Who's this? Why is this helmet so cool? And why is this cape blowing in the wind like a... Imrahil, for sure. Imrahil, yeah, I think Aragorn. But I kind of like Imrahil, this being Imrahil. He's the one that sits and watches and waits. That's a cool... I like this image. Huh. This is an essay about the first and only appearance of Sauron. That's weird. Sauron's only... This is bad because it's been the first page and we already have 2 essays. Well, it's good, but it's also bad because that means every page is going to have two essays in this one. Did I see poor Pippin in that one? He's dead right there. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. Guys. How do I zoom in? Wait. I got to figure out how to zoom in. What is it? Alt plus? Control plus? Right here. No, that's not him. Is this the troll? No, that's too small to be a troll. It's small enough to be a hobbit. No, guys. What the heck? I don't like that. I'm a little nervous. Okay. Yeah, Pippin's on the front lines. He's not back there. Thank you, Melon. Okay, let's keep reading. You spoiled Pippin's death. I still don't believe it. Guys. I'm not going to believe it until I see it on the page. He's going to be healed. I believe it. The captains bowed their heads, and when they looked up again, behold, their enemies were flying, and the power of Mordor was scattering like dust in the wind. As when death smites the swollen brooding thing that inhabits their crawling hill, and holds them all in sway, ants will wander witless and purposeless and then die feebly. So the creatures of Sauron, orc or troll or beast spell enslaved. Beast spell enslaved. That's another interesting idea of this. So like orcs might have it in their nature that they're evil, but they're extra evil because they're spell enslaved. Interesting. Narnia Queen, thanks for the $2. The best line in the trilogy is in this chapter. Ooh, I'm pumped. Hopefully I see it. We'll see. Beast spell enslaved ran hither and thither, mindless, and some slew themselves, or cast themselves in pits, or fled wailing back to hide in holes and dark lightless places from far from hope. But the men of Rhûn and of Harad, Easterlings and Southrons, saw the ruin of their war and the great majesty and glory of the captain of the West, and those that were deepest and longest in evil servitude, hating the West, and yet were men proud and bold. In their turn now gather themselves for a last stand of desperate battle. No! But the most part fled eastward as they could, and some cast their weapons down and sued for mercy. Huh. Yeah, the Nazgul themselves were ring enslaved too. I really want the story of what those kings were like before they were ring enslaved. I hope we get something there. That's crazy that the men of Rhûn and Harad are still, some of them are still fighting. That's actually kind of funky. That's interesting. Also, everyone liked the stream. Yeah, they weren't all kings for sure. All right. Were they the kings of men? Maybe not. I don't know. Then Gandalf, leaving all such matters of battle and command to Aragorn and to the other lords. Now, that's an interesting line because it's almost like he's finally like, my job's done. Stood upon the hilltop and called, and down to him came the great eagle, Gwaihir, the Wind Lord, and stood before him. Wait, I thought Landroval was the main eagle. Is Gwaihir the king of the eagles? Who's the high up? One is the king of the north? Is Gwaihir just the king of eagles? The eagle king? What would his title be? Gwaihir? Okay, so Gwaihir is like the legit, the leader. But the Landroval is the king of the north. Gwaihir is the top dog. Okay. Top bird. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Twice you have borne me, Gwaihir, my friend, said Gandalf. Thrice shall pay for all if you are willing. Thrice shall pay for all if you are willing. Oh. You will not find me a burden much greater than what you bore me from Zirik Ziggle. Zirik Ziggle. Should I pull out a map? Zirik Ziggle? Where my old life burned away. Real place? Top of the mountain over Moria. I knew that was where he fought the Balrog, but interesting. Okay. The mountain above Moria. Has it mentioned that before? Zirik Ziggle is where he died. Okay. Interesting. I would bear you, answered Gwaihir, whither you will, even were you made of stone. Then come, and let your brother go with us, and some other of your folk whom is most swift, for we have need of speed greater than any wind. Outmatching the wings of the Nazgul. It's like sad because I like know where they're going, and I love that. I love that this is happening. At least I think I know where they're going. I think they're going to pick up Sam and Frodo, or look for Sam and Frodo. The north wind blows, but we shall outfly it, said Gwaihir. And he lifted up Gandalf and sped away south, and went with Landroval. And with him went Landroval. And Meneldor, young and swift. And they passed over Udun and Gorgoroth and saw all the land in ruin and tumult beneath them. And before them Mount Doom blazing, pouring out its fire. Then we get a flashback. I am glad that you were here with me, said Frodo. Here at the end of all things, Sam. Yes, I am with you, master, said Sam, laying Frodo's wounded hand gently to his breast. And you're with me, and the journey's finished. But after coming all the way, I don't want to give up yet. It's not like me somehow, if you understand. Maybe not, Sam, said Frodo. But it's like things are in the world. But it's like things are in the world. Hope fails. An end comes. We have only a little time to wait now. We are lost in ruin and downfall, and there is no escape. Well, master, we could at least go further from this dangerous place here, from this crack of doom, if that's its name. Now, couldn't we? Come, Mr. Frodo, let's go down the path at any rate. Very well, Sam. If you wish to go, I'll come, said Frodo. That's a really beautiful part because it's almost like Sam was following Frodo the entire way to Mount Doom, not knowing where to go. And now Frodo was following Sam back to the Shire. This shows why the eagles fly in Frodo theory is so silly. Yeah, everyone saw the eagles coming in. It's so true. Yeah. But the only thing is, too, he asked, so Gandalf asked for more. He said, then come and let your brother go with us and some other of your folk who is most swift. That seems like he wants a few of them to come. Maybe just for more eyes or something. Like, it doesn't seem like it's just only going to be 3, although 3 are the people that go. Unless that is like some other of your folk could also be singular, so like as in one other. Yeah, I guess that's more singular. So the other is tough, but the folk is the thing that's throwing off. It's a weird construction for a sentence. There's a little lack of specificity there. Let me keep reading. Yeah, they were coming to get Gollum, potentially. I don't know. Interesting. Very well, Sam. If you wish to go, I'll come, said Frodo. And they rose and went slowly down the winding road. And even as they passed toward the mountain's quaking feet, a great smoke and steam belched from the Samath Nor, and the side of the cone was riven open, and a huge fiery vomit rolled in slow, thunderous cascade down the eastern mountainside. Frodo and Sam could go no further. Their last strength of mind and body was swiftly ebbing. They had reached a low ashen hill piled at the mountain's foot, but from it there was no more escape. It was an island now, not long to endure amid the torrent of Orodruin. All about it the earth gaped, and from deep rifts and pits smoke and fumes leaped up. Behind them the mountain was convulsed. Great rents opened in its side. Slow rivers of fire came down in the long slopes toward them. Soon they would be engulfed. A rain of hot ash was falling. They stood now, and Sam, still holding his master's hand, caressed it. He sighed. "What a tale we have been in, Mr. Frodo, haven't we?" he said. "I wish I could hear it told. Do you think they'll say, 'Now comes the story of Nine-Fingered Frodo and the Rings of Doom,' or in the Ring of Doom? And then everyone will hush like we did, when in Rivendell they told us the tale of Beren, One Hand, and the Great Jewel. I wish I could hear it. And I wonder how it will go on after our part." But even while he spoke so, to keep fear away until the very last, his eyes still strayed north onto the eye of the wind, to where the sky far off was clear, as the cold blast, rising to a gale, drove back the darkness and the ruin of the clouds. Yeah, the north wind is the main character right here. Also, Beren One Hand? Why does the guy lose his hand? That's the real question. It makes me want to think. Makes me want to read that story. Why does he have one hand? Interesting. All right. This is sad. Sam really wants to hear his own story told. And so it was that Gwaihir saw them with his keen, far-seeing eyes, as down the wild wind he came, and daring the great peril of the skies, he circled in the air, two small dark figures, forlorn, hand in hand upon a little hill, while the world shook under them. What a great image! And gasped. The rivers of fire drew near, and even as he spied them, and came swooping down. Oh, 1 second. Even as he spied them, he came swooping down. He saw them fall, worn out, or choked with fumes and heat, or stricken down by despair at last, hiding their eyes from death. Side by side they lay. And down swept Gwaihir, and down came Landroval and Meneldor the Swift. And in a dream, not knowing what fate had befallen them, the wanderers were lifted up and borne far away out of darkness and the fire. Yeah, guys, no spoilers. Everyone delete your spoilers. I'm not reading any of that. I will not have it. Also, everyone like the stream, because there's only half the people who are watching right now have liked the stream. Let's get that up so more people who like Tolkien can find this and we can just nerd out more. What an image that is, though. In this huge, vast expanse, you see two eagles, or this eagle sees them as daring the great perils of the sky, he encircled the air. 2 small dark figures, forlorn, hand in hand upon the little hill, while the world shook under them and gasped, and rivers of fire drew near. That is the image of the whole story of Lord of the Rings right there. That it's in these 2 little hobbits who love each other and are devoted to each other. And they're devoted to the Shire. In this massive, huge world that's raging around them, these are the 2 people that defeat the power of the ring. That's beautiful. When Sam awoke, he found that he was lying on some soft bed. That's got to be the best feeling ever. No, some of you may be new here. I'm never asking for spoilers. So when I ask a question that has to do with anything that I haven't read, that's not me asking for information on that. That's just me talking and like saying, I'm just curious about that. Yeah, so I ask questions just so you guys know what's going on in my head, but I don't actually want those spoilers. And so there's there's people who are, some of the mods, they just delete those things. I gotta maybe make more people mods, but yeah, I'm just wondering aloud. So if you're new here, just know that they're more rhetorical questions. But don't worry, if I see a bunch of spoilers too, or if I see something that if I ask a question, I usually don't look at because I know some people will still give spoilers or whatever. So I kind of just avert my eyes and don't look. That has to be a good feeling that Sam wakes up and he's on a bed. No, wait, possible Elrond told Frodo he would stand with Beren. When does he say that? Now Sam compares Frodo to Beren. Interesting. I did not catch that. I need to go back and reread that section. Does he say that in the Council of Elrond chapter? Among the elf friends. Yeah, I feel like that's more of an essay when I know Beren more. I love that idea, though. I cannot wait, again, to reread the text and find all those little connections. Well, I'm not going to find all of them. I'm going to find some of them. But that's going to be my second reread, or my second read. When I reread all this, I feel like all my essays are going to be like, oh my gosh, look at how this connects to something in the end of the book. And it's going to be a lot of connection stuff. I like doing that right now, but I don't have that good of a memory. I love that idea. Michael, thanks for the $5 too. I appreciate it. Legit, number 1 supporter of the channel. You're the best. Maybe just Beren is a Chad. Interesting. All right. Well, let's keep reading. When Sam awoke, he found that he was lying on some soft bed, but over him gently swayed wide beechen boughs, and through their young leaves sunlight glimmered, green and gold. All the air was full of a sweet mingled scent. He remembered that smell, the fragrance of Ithilien. I love that. Tolkien knowing the power of scent is the best. He's so smart with that. Because if you wake up in a spot and the first thing you do is smell it and you know where you are. Bless me, he mused. How long have I been asleep? For the scent had borne him back to the day when he had lit his little fire under the sunny bank. And for the moment, all else between was out of waking memory. He stretched and drew a deep breath. Why, what a dream I've had, he muttered. I am glad to be awake. He sat up, and then he saw that Frodo was lying beside him, and slept peacefully, one hand behind his head and the other resting upon the coverlet. It was the right hand, and the third finger was missing. Full memory flooded back, and Sam cried aloud. It wasn't a dream. Then where are we? And a voice spoke softly behind him. In the land of Ithilien. So they don't go back to Rivendell. You are in the house of Elrond. No, they're in the land of Ithilien, Peter. Come on. In the land of Ithilien, and in the keeping of the king, and he awaits you. With that, Gandalf stood before him, robed in white, his beard now gleaming like pure snow in the twinkling of the leafy sunlight. "Well, Master Samwise, how do you feel?" he said. But Sam lay back and stared with open mouth, and for a moment, between bewilderment and great joy, he could not answer. At last he gasped, "Gandalf." Oh, I keep forgetting that. Where he doesn't know Gandalf is alive, so he probably sees him and he thinks he's dead. "Gandalf, I thought you were dead." "But then I thought I was dead myself." Is everything sad going to come untrue? Wow. I love that line. Oh man, I love that line. Boromir is hiding around a corner. Could you imagine? Is everything sad going to come untrue? What's happened to the world? What a perfect way to encapsulate the new world that they're living in. Everything sad is coming untrue. Oh, that is so excellent. "A great shadow has departed," said Gandalf. And then he laughed, and the sound was like music, or like water in a parched land. And as he listened, the thought came to Sam that he had not heard laughter, the pure sound of merriment, for days upon days without count. It fell upon his ears like the echo of all joys he had ever known. Oh. Man, this is going to be a hard chapter to get through. Sam hearing laughter for the first time in days. I love that Gandalf laughs. And he goes, "A great shadow has departed," said Gandalf. And he laughs, and the sound was like music or like water in a parched land. And as he listened, the thought came to Sam that he had not heard laughter, the pure sound of merriment, for days upon days without count. It's like Sauron is defeated so that they can actually laugh again. You can be real drunk by the end of this chapter. Yeah, this is such a joyful chapter. I love this so far. Is everything sad going to come untrue? Oh. It fell upon his ears like the echo of all the joys he had ever known. But he himself burst into tears. Then, as a sweet rain will pass down a wind of spring, and the sun will shine out the clear, his tears ceased, and his laughter welled up, and laughing he sprang from his bed. "How do I feel?" he cried. "Well, I don't know how to say it. I feel. He waved his arms in the air. "I feel like spring after winter, and sun on the leaves, and like trumpets and harps and all the songs I have ever heard." He stopped, and he turned towards his master. "But how's Mr. Frodo?" he said. "Isn't it a shame about his poor hand? But I hope he's all right otherwise. He's had a cruel time." "Yes, I am all right otherwise," said Frodo, sitting up and laughing in his turn. "I fell asleep again waiting for you, Sam, you sleepyhead." "I was awake early this morning, and now it must be nearly noon." "Noon," said Sam, trying to calculate. "Noon of what day?" The 14th of the new year, said Gandalf. Or if you like, the 8th day of April in Shire Reckoning. Guys, I'm not even joking. My birthday is April 8th. I'm going to cry. Wow, my birthday has so much meaning to it now. How lucky am I, guys? No way. No way. No way, birthday buddies. Your birthday is April 8th. I love that. That is crazy. That is so wild. Wait, there's a little footnote. There were 30 days in March, or Rethi in the Shire calendar. Huh. No way. How many April 8th birthdays do we have here? What the heck? Why are so many people born on April 8th? This is fate. This means something. No, my birthday doesn't only have meaning now, but now it has more meaning. March 8th, I love that. Man, the ring is destroyed on March 25th. No way. Wait, it's destroyed on March 25th, and they've been like in a coma for like 2 weeks. Man. That's crazy. How do we know? There's the timeline at the end in the appendices, I think. I was going to say, how do we know that? But in Gondor, the new year will always now begin upon the 25th of okay, the 25th of March, when Sauron fell and when you were brought out of the fire to the king. He has tended you. And now he awaits you. You shall eat and drink with him. When you are ready, I will lead you to him. Why would they not have it in the movies in Ithilien? Why bring him back to Rivendell? This is so much more meaningful. Because literally Aragorn is the one that's healing them. It's got to be Rivendell. Doesn't he say you are in the house of Elrond? Wait, it's in the houses of healing? No way. I don't believe that. They're in Minas Tirith there? Oh yeah, he does say he says you were in the house. Yeah, okay. You're right about that. I always thought they went back to Rivendell, and that never made sense in my head. It makes sense that they're in the houses of healing, but why not just have it? Man, I wish they just said this line. I wish they just said this line of Aragorn is the one that's healing them. I always thought that. I'm like, what? That's so far. That's ridiculous that they would go all the way back to Rivendell. But it made me think that they were back in Rivendell. It just looked like Rivendell for me. Man, maybe that's like a good movie change because now the Kingdom of Men looks so pure and holy like it does in Rivendell. Maybe that was purposeful. Interesting. So the field of Cormallen is in Ithilien? Huh. Okay, let's keep reading. When you are ready, I will lead you to him. The king, said Sam. What king? And who is he? The king of Gondor and lord of the western lands, said Gandalf. And he has taken back all his ancient realm. He will ride soon to his crowning, but he waits for you. He waited 2 weeks. Aragorn is the best. He can go get crowned king, or he can wait for 2 hobbits who have saved the world so he can have a meal with them. What shall we wear? Said Sam. That really shows Aragorn is the best. The legitimate best character. What shall we wear? Said Sam. For all he could see was the old and tattered clothes they had journeyed in, lying folded on the ground beside their beds. The clothes that you wore on your way to Mordor, said Gandalf. Even the orc rags that you bore in the Black Lands, Frodo, shall be preserved. I wonder why. No silk and linens, nor any armor or heraldry could be more honorable. But later I will find some other clothes, perhaps. Then he held out his hands to them, and they saw that one shone with light. What have you got there? Cried Frodo. Can it be? Yes, I have brought your 2 treasures. They were found on Sam when you were rescued. The Lady Galadriel's gifts. Your glass, Frodo, and your box, Sam. You will be glad to have these safe again. Yeah, it feels like a little bit relic-y. Yeah, they just sat around for 2 weeks waiting for the hobbits to wake up from a coma. Aragorn is the best. Oh. No, this chapter's almost over. What? No. Why did they go so fast? Hold on, I gotta write a few things in the end. Remind myself of essays. The rightful king. Man. This chapter is a doozy. When they were washed and clad and had eaten a light meal, the hobbits followed Gandalf. They stepped out of the beech grove in which they had lain and passed on to a long green lawn, glowing in sunshine, bordered by stately dark-leaved trees laden with scarlet blossom. Behind them they could hear the sound of falling water, and a stream ran down before them between flowering banks until it came to a greenwood at the lawn's foot, and passed then on under an archway of trees, through which they saw the shimmer of water far away. As they came to the opening in the wood, they were surprised to see knights in bright mail, and tall guards in silver and black standing there, who greeted them with honor and bowed before them. And then one blew a long trumpet, and they went on through the aisles of the trees beside the singing stream. So they came to a wide green land, and beyond it was a broad river in a silver haze, out of which rose a long wooded isle, and many ships lay by its shores. Huh? Interesting. I didn't think there was a big enough... I guess the Anduin really is that big? I'm going to look this up. I need to look this up on a map right now. Can I actually look this up in the field of Cormallen? Michael, thanks for the $5 again. March 25th is traditional date of the crucifixion. The Fellowship left Rivendell on Christmas. The quest to destroy the ring is Bethlehem to Calvary. Calvary. That's crazy. Ships by the Anduin at Caer Andros. Okay, so the field of Cormallen. So are they in Caer Andros right now? Or close to it? They're close to it. I didn't think that was Ithilien. Michael, that's actually a crazy cool point. Tolkien and his Catholicism. He loves that. Let me just look up map of Middle Earth, or the map again. Mm-hmm. Emily Care Andros. Oh yeah, it's really right by Athelion. Okay. Oh, it's like literally right on the banks of the Athelion. Okay, that makes more sense to me. We're on the banks of the Anduin. Interesting. Yeah, I guess the Athelion is very wide. Really interesting stuff. Okay. There's gonna be a lot of interesting connections here. I kind of want to make a video about that. I got to do some research onto that. Talk about how Tolkien infuses his Catholicism and the dates. Be an interesting one. Tolkien and his dates. But on the field where they now stood, a great host was drawn up, in ranks and companies glittering in the sun. And as the hobbits approached, swords were unsheathed, and spears were shaken, and horns and trumpets sang. And men cried with many voices and many tongues, "Long live the halflings! Praise them with great praise." Ooh, language I don't know. Oh, I guess there's many tongues. I guess this is the other tongue. Quio e Ferian Anon, Aglaran e Perianath. Praise them with great praise, Frodo and Samwise. Duar Arberhal, Conin and Anun, Eglario. What language is this? Sindarin? So there are elves here. Are there elves here, or is that just the people of men singing their praise in Sindarin? Sindarin and Quenya? Gondorian speaks Sindarin. Men can speak Elvish. Okay. Nemo, could have been about my pronunciation. What else is new? My pronunciation sucks about someone. It's like Latin. Okay, interesting. Sindarin is the learned language of Gondor, not the daily tongue. I love that. Yeah, Emerhil is definitely singing this in Sindarin. Sindarin, right? Not Quenya? Okay. Does this translate? Is this line for line what it translates to? Like, does that mean, like, does praise them mean Eglario? Alate, leta, te, andave, lai tuvalemet, praise them. Praise them, the ring bearers, praise them with great praise. Huh. It's a literal translation. Okay. So it just goes line. Interesting. Huh. A latte. That's all they want. They just want a good latte. Yeah. My pronunciation is not going to be good, guys. So even though I've read the appendix that had the pronunciation guides in there, I don't remember much from that chapter. It was too deep, too much information. Interesting. And so the red blood blushing in their faces and their eyes shining with wonder, Frodo and Sam went forward and saw that amidst the clamorous host were set 3 high seats built of green turves. What are turves? Ooh, I could hear the song performed in the BBC audio. I love that. I might have to check that out. A hobbit coffee. That's probably all I want right now. Turf. Okay, turfs of grass. Interesting. Turfs. Oh, just turfs. The plural of turf? Interesting. Okay. Earth and grass. Don't say that there's only 3 seats of honor. No, because Mary's back with in Minas Tirith. That's what I think. Oh, I will weep right now. Behind the seat, upon the right, floated white on green. Oh, a great horse running free. Upon the left was a banner, silver upon blue. A ship swan proud, faring on the sea. But behind the highest throne, in the midst of all, a great standard was spread in the breeze. And there a white tree flowered upon a sable field, beneath a shining crown, and 7 glittering stars. On the throne sat a mail-clad man. A great sword was laid across his knees, but he wore no helm. As they drew near, he rose. And then they knew him, changed as he was, so high and glad of face, kingly, lord of men, dark-haired with eyes of gray. Frodo ran to meet him, and Sam followed close behind. Well, if this isn't the crown of all, he said. Strider. Or I'm still asleep. Yes, Sam. Strider, said Aragorn. It is a long way, is it not, from Bree, where you did not like the look of me. A long way for us all, but yours has been the darkest road. And then, to Sam's surprise and utter confusion, he bowed his knee before them. And taking them by the hand, Frodo upon his right and Sam upon his left, he led them to the throne. And setting them upon it, he turned to the men and captains who stood by and spoke, so that his voice rang over all the hosts, crying, "Praise them with great praise." And when the glad shout had swelled up and died away again, to Sam's final and complete satisfaction and pure joy, a minstrel of Gondor stood forth and knelt and begged leave to sing. And behold, he said, Lo, lords and knights and men of valor unashamed, kings and princes, and fair people of Gondor, and riders of Rohan, and ye sons of Elrond, and Dunedain of the north, and elf and dwarf, and great hearts of the Shire, and all free folk of the west, now listen to my lay. For I will sing to you of Frodo of the 9 Fingers and the Ring of Doom. Wait! Song's back in Middle-earth, guys. Song's back. Time out. Time out. How did they know? That's a prophecy that Sam saw. I wish I could hear it told. Do you think they'll say, now comes the story of the 9-fingered Frodo and the rings of power? 9 Frodo. I guess it's a little different. Frodo of the 9 fingers and the Ring of Doom. For Sam, it's the story of nine-fingered Frodo and the Ring of Doom. Sam's a little prophet. Songs back on the menu, boys. Honestly, that's going to be an essay. Thank you for that beautiful. That's going to be the essay title. Songs back on the menu, boys. There's already 2 songs in this chapter. Maybe a little obvious moniker, but at the same time, not necessarily. I don't know if I would call it that. Frodo of the... Maybe that's like the most obvious song title. Frodo has been awake for half the day, but still, maybe I feel like a minstrel needs more time than a half a day to come up with a really, really good song. Is he going to actually sing this? Are we going to get this? No. Bummer. But still, songs back. Songs back on the menu, boys and girls. And when Sam heard that, he laughed aloud for sheer delight and stood up and cried, "Oh, great glory and splendor, all my wishes have come true." And then he wept. And all the host laughed and wept. And in the midst of their merriment and tears, the clear voice of the minstrel rose like silver and gold. And all men were hushed. And he sang to them now in the elven tongue, now in the speech of the West, until their hearts, wounded with sweet words, overflowed, and their joy was like swords. And they passed in thought out to the region where pain and delight flowed together, and tears are the very wine of blessedness. Until their hearts wounded with sweet words overflowed, and their joy was like swords. And they passed in thought out to the regions where pain and delight flowed together, and tears are the very wine of blessedness. Wow. Gosh. Gosh. Philip, what's up? Oh. Man. That's a line. That is a line. I need to sit, and that's gonna that line. What a good line. Until their hearts, wounded with sweet words, overflowed. And their joy... Wait. Let's sit down. Let's take a minute or so. Maybe 10. Let's talk about this line. And their joy was like swords. So unexpected. If you saw me live react to that, I stopped. Because that doesn't make any sense. But it's such a good unexpected change from what you think. Their joy was like swords. That's not a typical thing that you would think someone's joy is going to be like. Until their joy was like swords. And they passed in thought. Yeah, bright, sharp, noble. Love that. I'm thinking in that moment of like uh, Éomer raising his sword when he sees the standard of Aragorn. That is that moment to me. Yeah, pierced by joy, cutting away the fear and the grief. It's like a little bit like a pruning almost, but not necessarily. I think it's more just a stabbing of grief, unbendable. Yes. And they passed in thought out to regions where pain and delight. And they passed in thought out to regions where pain and delight flow together, and tears are the very wine of blessedness. Oh my gosh. Joy that pierces like swords. I do not love the sword for its sharpness. What is the rest of the line? I don't love the sword for its sharpness, or the something for the something, but I only love... Faramir says that line of Minas Tirith, but I only love the city. That was a great line. Yeah. What reading a good story is like when it hurts you and you love it. Legitimately. No, I say blessedness. I don't say blessedness. Because blessed. I know there's different pronunciations for things, but I like to go against some typical pronunciation, as you guys all know, because I don't know how to pronounce things. That's one where I pronounce it blessedness rather than blessedness. Yeah, or the warrior for his glory. Yes. Oh, or you just missed the greatest line that's ever been written, maybe in all literature. Potentially. I only love that which they defend, yeah. The White City. That reminds me of like the danger of light and joy line. But this one's putting it in like a different way. Blessedness. I'm still putting the ED on there, but you just go blessed. Like blessed and blessed. We use those in two different forms when we talk about something. If it's like in a religious term, we use blessed. It should just be blessed. No. And so blessedness, it could just be blessedness. I don't know. Double blessed blessedness. If there's no pain, how do you know the joy? For sure. That's what that's what this line feels like to me. Like the tears that they have are the actual reason why they're so blessed right now. It's a really interesting line. Because it's not like this isn't necessarily the line that you want to give to Frodo and Sam. So this is something that happens. This is the advice that you, or not the advice. This is the wisdom that you tell someone after they've been through a battle, not while they're going through it. You know what I mean? Like when Frodo and Sam are on their way to Mount Doom, like in Mordor, you're not gonna be like, "Don't worry, guys. When you finish this, you're gonna be so blessed." Like you say this after, that the tears that you have right now, of your grief and your sorrow and your pain, are really delight that flow together, because those tears are the wine of blessedness. Remember it. Kenneth Branagh is great. Oh, what a good line. I need to just sit and think about that line for hours. I'm just going to be in the daze after I do this. I'm going to go take Wes for a walk and just go, wow, that line was so good. Right now, Wes is literally sitting with his belly up on my bed. Look at his little paws. I got to take a picture of him. Hold on. Let me uncharge my phone. Look at this dog. He looks like a little chicken. This is Wes right now. His belly up, or back on the bed, belly up. He's pretty floored by that line too. I read that line and he just went, "Oh, that's so good." This is one of those lines that that hits you, and I'm not gonna be able to get this out of my head for a long time. Wes in his blessedness, not blessedness. He's in his blessedness. Let me just read this line one more time, and then we'll go on. And all the host laughed and wept. In the midst of their merriment and tears, the clear voice of the minstrel rose like silver and gold, and all men were hushed. And he sang to them, now in the elven tongue, now in the speech of the West, until their hearts, wounded with sweet words, overflowed, and their joy was like swords. And they passed in thought out to regions where pain and delight flowed together, and tears are the very wine of blessedness. Oh. Westness. That would be Westness. Yeah, not Wednesday. Westedness. It was such a good line. All right, let's keep reading, because otherwise I'm just going to sit on that line and so good. And at last, as the sun fell from the noon and the shadows of the tree lengthened, he ended. Praise them with great praise, he said, and knelt. And then Aragorn stood up, and all the host arose. And they passed to pavilions made ready, to eat and drink and make merry while the day lasted. Frodo and Sam were led apart and brought to a tent. And their old raiment was taken off, but folded and set aside with honor. And clean linen was given to them. Then Gandalf came, and in his arms, to the wonder of Frodo, he bore the sword, and the elven cloak, and the mithril coat that had been taken from him in Mordor. For Sam he brought a coat of gilded mail, and his elven cloak, all healed of the soils and hurts that it had suffered. And then he laid before them 2 swords. I do not wish for any swords, said Frodo. Tonight at least you shall wear one, said Gandalf. And Frodo took the small sword that had belonged to Sam, and had been laid at his side in Cirith Ungol. Sting I give to you, Sam. What? What? Are you kidding me? Oh, come on. No, master. Mr. Bilbo gave it to you, and it goes with his silver coat. He would not wish anyone else to wear it now. Frodo gave way. So that didn't last that long, but Frodo gave way. And Gandalf, as if he were their esquire, knelt and girt the sword belts about them. And then, rising, he set circlets of silver upon their heads. And when they were arrayed, they went to the great feasts. And they sat at the king's table with Gandalf and King Eomer of Rohan, and the Prince Imrahil, and all the chief captains. And there also were Gimli and Legolas. I'm so nervous about Pippin. But when, after the standing silence, wine was brought, there came in 2 esquires to serve the kings. Or so they thought, or so they seemed to be. One was clad in silver and sable of the guards of Minas Tirith, and the other in white and green. But Sam wondered what such young boys were doing in an army of mighty men. And suddenly, as they drew near, and he could see them plainly, he exclaimed, Why, look, Mr. Frodo, look here. Well, if it isn't Pippin. Mr. Peregrine Took, I should say, and Mr. Merry. How they have grown, bless me. But I can see there's more tales to tell than ours. There are indeed, said Pippin, turning toward him. And we'll begin telling them as soon as this feast is ended. In the meantime, you can try Gandalf. He's not so close as he used to be, though he laughs now more than he talks. For the present, Merry and I are busy. We are knights of the city and of the mark, as I hope you observe. Guys, you liars! Just like Gandalf rose from the dead, Pippin rose from the dead. I need to hear the rest of his story, though. I want them to tell a story. So, that was written so well, but then it's disappointing because they have to do their duties. It's like very realistic, but I want them to come in and sit at their table and enjoy the meal with them and not have to do their duties, but have to have a good meal with their buddies. Come on, can't they be granted that? At last the glad day ended. And when the sun was gone and the round moon rode slowly above the mists of the Anduin and flickered through the fluttering leaves, Frodo and Sam sat under the whispering trees amid the fragrance of fair Ithilien. I love the fragrance. Pimpins. I like that. We can start calling him Pimpin now. Tolkien tells you that Pippin doesn't die at the beginning of the Pyre of Denethor? What do you mean? Oh, is that like because the Red Book, I guess he has to be alive because he has to actually tell you what's going on? Ithilien, southern France. Ithilien reminds me of like a little bit like of the like west of the U.S. Lots of good smells. Like a little bit different. Like red. I see like redwoods there and like, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely honored to serve. Ripon was the friends we made along the way. That's the truth. That's right. And years after, he got tears in his eyes whenever he heard horns. I should have known, you suckers. Come on. Gosh, I made such a big deal out of that line, too. I should have known that I kind of knew that he wasn't going to die, but still. I want to know his story. I really want to know what happens. I really hope we get some of that. And they talked deep into the night with Merry and Pippin and Gandalf. And after a while, Legolas and Gimli joined them. There Frodo and Sam learned much of all that had happened to the company after their fellowship was broken on the evil day at Parth Galen by Rorus Falls. And still there was always more to ask and more to tell. Orcs and talking trees, and leagues of grass and galloping riders and glittering caves, and white towers and golden halls and battles and tall ships sailing, and all these passed before Sam's mind until he felt bewildered. But amidst all these wonders, he returned always to his astonishment at the size of Merry and Pippin. And he made them stand back to back with Frodo and himself. He scratched his head. Can't understand it at your age, he said. But you're 3 inches taller than you ought to be, or I'm a dwarf. That you certainly are not, said Gimli. But what did I say? Mortals cannot go drinking ent draughts and expect no more to come of them than a pot of beer. Ent draughts, said Sam. There you go about ents again. But what are they? Beats me. Excuse me. But what they are beats me. Why, it will take weeks before we get all these things sized up. Weeks indeed, said Pippin. And then Frodo will have to be locked in a tower in Minas Tirith and write it all down. Otherwise, he will forget half of it. And poor old Bilbo will be dreadfully disappointed. Oh, they're thinking of Bilbo. I love that. Philip, thanks for the $2. The Red Book is one of many editions of Lord of the Rings. Interesting. Casual dwarf racism in there. At length Gandalf rose. The hands of the king are hands of healing, dear friends, he said. But you went to the very brink of death ere he recalled you, putting forth all his power, and sent you into the sweet forgetfulness of sleep. And though you have indeed slept long and blessedly, still it is now time to sleep again. And not only Sam and Frodo here, said Gimli, but you too, Pippin. I love you, if only because of the pains you have cost me, which I shall never forget. Nor shall I forget finding you on the hill of the last battle. But for Gimli the dwarf, you would have been lost then. But at least I know now the look of the hobbit's foot. There'll be all that can be seen under a heap of bodies. When I heaved that great carcass off you, I made sure you were dead. I could have torn out my beard. And it is only a day yet since you were first up and abroad again. To bed now you go, and so shall I. What? Come on. Gimli, my heart can't take this. My favorite character. Because he knows a hobbit foot. Gosh, this is so good. Welcome back, Rippin. Welcome back. And I, said Legolas, shall walk in the woods of this fair land, which is rest enough. What a weird elf. Elves are so strange. Everyone's like, I'm going to bed. I'm going to go for a walk in the woods. That's going to be enough rest for me. In days to come, if my elven lord allows, some of our folk shall remove hither. And when we come, it shall be blessed for a while. For a while. A month, a life, 100 years of men. But Anduin is near. And Anduin leads down to the sea. To the sea. To the sea, to the sea. The white gulls are crying. The wind is blowing. And the white foam is flying. West, west away. The round sun is falling. Gray ship, do you hear them calling? The voice of my people that have gone before me. I will leave the woods that bore me. For our days are ending and our years failing. I will pass the wide waters, lonely sailing. Long are the waves on that last shore falling. Sweet are the voices in the lost isle calling. And a sea, an elven home that no man can discover, where the leaves fall not, land of my people forever. Yeah, this is the White Gulls. That is a really... Oh no, this is Adele McAllister is the one that sings it. I gotta listen to this song. Jess of the Shire does this version of this song too. This feels like the... I'm gonna keep saying this, but this feels like the stamp on the end of the story. Like, this is just so sad. It's like the transition of the elves to the men. Erisea. Okay, thank you. Erisea. Eresa? Eresa? Your dinner burned because you got distracted by the tears of wine? Oh, no. Yeah, this is one of the 400 essays, I guess. Or 400 endings. One down, 50 more to go. This is a really beautiful song. I still love the Song of Sam, and I still love the Song of Durin. But after I read this another 50 times, I might really come to love this one. This one is really sad to me. The other ones are really sad too. I think Tolkien and his sad songwriting is the best. He does sad songs really well. I'm excited to reread and look at all the ideas of like Legolas is like leaving Middle Earth, and his and like the goals and the significance of the white goals, because that seems really significant. It seems like a huge part of this, but I don't fully understand it. But darn, is this good. Okay. And so singing, Legolas went away down the hill. Then the others also departed. And Frodo and Sam went to their beds and slept. And in the morning they rose again in hope and peace, and spent many days in Ithilien. For the field of Cormallen, where the host was now encamped, was near to Henneth Anun, and the stream that flowed from its falls could be heard in the night as it rushed down through its rocky gate and passed through the flowery meads into the tides of the Anduin by the Isle of Cair Andros. The hobbits wandered here and there, visiting again the places that they had passed before. And Sam hoped always in some shadow of woods or secret glade to catch maybe a glimpse of the great Oliphant. And when he learned that at the siege of Gondor there had been a great number of these beasts, but that they were all destroyed, he thought it a sad loss. Well, one can't be everywhere at once, I suppose, he said. But I missed a lot, seemingly. Oh, Sam, he just wants to see an Oliphant. That's so cute. Isn't there like a legend of that the Oliphant? Did they kill the Oliphant when they were chasing it in Ithilien? Isn't there like an Oliphant wandering in Ithilien somewhere? Oliphant am I, and I never die. I never lie, not even to die. Yeah, he definitely has FOMO. All right, last two paragraphs or three. In the meanwhile, the host made ready for the return to Minas Tirith. The weary rested, and the hurt were healed. For some had labored and fought much with the remnants of the Easterlings and the Southrons until all were subdued. And latest of all, those returned who had passed into Mordor and destroyed the fortress in the north of the land. Oh, nice. But at last, when the month of May was drawing near, wow, they were there for weeks. The captains of the west set out again, and they went aboard ships with all their men, and they sailed from Cair Andros down Anduin to Osgiliath, and there they remained for one day. And the day after they came to the green fields of the Pelennor, and saw again the white towers under tall Mindalluin, the city of men of Gondor, last memory of Westerness, that had passed through the darkness and fire to a new day. And there in the midst of the fields they set up their pavilions, and waited all the morning, and awaited the morning, for it was the eve of May, and the king would enter his gates with the rising of the sun. Man alive. Golly. Why are these chapters just so good? Why? Oh man, I just spilled some water. Why are these chapters so good? Tolkien. Come on, JRR. Did Tolkien legitimately write that? He had tears writing the celebration? Or is that just metaphorical? Tolkien, that guy knows how to write. He's a really good writer, guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but J.R.R. Tolkien really knows how to write a story. Oh my gosh, that was so good. In letter 131, interesting. I gotta check that out. I'm gonna write a note, actually. Letter 131. Why? Yeah, honestly, this is why all other book endings now are going to be too short, because they're not going to be this. The celebration points to the mark of eucatastrophe. Interesting. Letter 131 is a book in itself. Oh no. Ooh, simp for another character. Interesting. This entire chapter is eucatastrophe. Just a little change in the wind. There are 5 more endings. 10,000 word letter. Who's he writing the letter to? Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I am really excited to get into his letters. I've been talking about that for a while, but I'm really excited to read his letters and like reread the story with the letters in mind. This seems to follow just a different story structure. It's not necessarily like about the culmination of the story. And it's interesting too. It could potentially follow the normal storytelling method where you don't have that long of resolution. But if that's the case, then we're not at the critical peak of the story yet, which I don't think that. I think we kind of passed that. Man, I had 10 essays written down. It could be more, it could be less. Sometimes I consolidate. I'll probably have at least a week's worth of essays on this one. But sometimes it changes. Sometimes sometimes some of the essays are long, some of them are short, some of them can be consolidated. Like 3 of the essays sometimes I combine into one because they just have the same themes running throughout it. But this is a good one. This was a you kind of like, this chapter makes you feel like the joy that they experienced too. Like there's just a lot of reunions and there's like really beautiful things that happen, but like it's only like a small taste of things that are to come still. Like I feel like that essay was like everyone meets again, but we don't get this like great grand reunion like we're probably going to get later maybe, or like we're going to get more of. Like the resolution that we need for this story just feels necessary for like the amount of resolutions that we're going to get. Like I'd be furious if the book ended with that chapter. I'd be so mad. Like it can't. There's so many other things that we need to know. Everything sad coming untrue is one of my favorite lines. And same. I'm glad that you popped back on. Coming chapters are the ones you most wanted me to read live. Love that. We're coming up to them. Man, what a good chapter. That was too short. I wanted a longer chapter. I wanted a longer one. I just wanted to sit in that chapter for hours. That was so good. The hands of the king are the hands of a healer. Lord of the Rings is not about destroying evil, but setting things right after the evil is destroyed. For sure. Everything sad coming untrue feels like the defining line for Lord of the Rings. Mixed with the other one. That your tears and your joy intermingled is the wine of blessedness. And I was kind of getting ready for Boromir to walk through. Hey, by the way, we raised Boromir from the dead. We found him in the bottom of the sea. And we brought him back. How great would that be? I mean, I would love that. Some people wouldn't, but I think I would love that. I love Boromir. He's still one of my favorites. Really love Boromir. I can't read the next one. I gotta wait. I gotta write all these essays. Boromir the White. Oh, that'd be great. His pride is struck down. If Boromir came back, he really would learn his lesson. He would be such a great help for Aragorn, I think. Yeah, their joy is a lot deeper now. It's not just like the innocent hobbits' joy. The joy is now deeper because they've been through some stuff. A lot of stuff. They've really gone through it. Man, that was so good. Gimli saving Pippin, one of the best moments in that chapter. I love that. It was Gimli that did that. And I love that he did it by recognizing a hobbit foot. Like, what a guy. Yeah, Boromir never really opposes the Return of the King. Although he potentially could have. I think there's like the potential that he could have. He smelled salted pork. Tolkien wrote Boromir to side with Saruman, and Aragorn was originally going to kill Boromir in a fight. Interesting. I do feel like there is a sense of like Boromir where he could have swapped sides. Makes him a really interesting character. Gimli ruined our Rippin propaganda. That's why Gimli, again, is my favorite character. Because he ruins your guys' crap propaganda that Pippin is dead. This is the third best Gimli moment in book 6. We haven't hit any other Gimli moments. Wow. So there's 2 other really good ones. I'm really pumped. Gimli is legitimately one of the biggest differences of characters from book to movie. Hobbit feet are distinctive. If you're walking around in a battlefield and you see hobbits, oh, you see a hobbit foot, you're recognizing that foot. You're going, that's not a normal foot. I feel like I'm going to get this experience after I finish each of these chapters. I feel like I'm going to be lost. I feel like I'm going to go like, what do I do now? And I have that feeling right now. I'm like, I feel lost. I don't know what I should do. I'm like, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Like, it just feels like steps. Maybe this is why there's so many endings. He's like gently easing me back into the normal world. Honestly, it's a great thing for a fantasy writer to do that. Because I'm so enmeshed in this world and I'm so like in it. I can't just have a cutoff. I need to have 50 endings. Because I need him to like gently ease me out of this world back into this earth and not Middle Earth. Because there were no more Tolkien words to be conquered. I feel like that. That's a great, honestly, there's an essay in there. I think I'm going to be ruined because there's not going to be enough. Yeah, we're going to go for a walk with Wes. It's a little early. We usually go on a walk like around the afternoon sometime. We do morning and afternoons. So I'm going to take him in the snow in like an hour or so. He's like just napping on the bed right now. He seems pretty content. Because usually we do the live reads on Sundays. And right as we finish is when we usually go for a walk around like 3 or 4. I know, I'm never going to leave Middle Earth for the rest of my life. It's going to be great. Post-adventure blues. I know. That's what the epilogue does. It's a gentle ease out. Interesting. Yeah, we did get some snow. We got like 4 or 5 inches. Some of it was melting a little bit earlier today. But now it's cold again and it's totally overcast. So the sun's kind of gone. There should be a diagnosable post-book depression. Anybody else feel that? I feel like I'm coming to it. I feel like it's like circling me. Like some vultures circling. How John did it snow for you. Dude, well, it actually did legitimately snow. Yeah, this is why people write fanfics. I know. You've only had one frost in Dallas Fort Worth. When I lived there before, there was a bad frost that happened. That was really crazy. But it was, those ice storms get you. Next chapter I'm going to read on Sunday. We're going to go back to our normal live read schedule. So that'll be on Sunday. I'll read that. And then after the next chapter, I might just take a week break just to let some of the essays catch up. and then it's like Christmas and everything. So I'll probably stream like letters from Tolkien or letters from Father Christmas and just some other stuff. But I have a bunch of essays that are just sitting waiting to get published. And so like I don't want the essay schedule to get so far behind the reading schedule, because right now the rest of this week there are essays that are coming out that are still last chapter. And the rest until Friday they're going to be last chapter. And then next week is going to be the chapter after that. So I don't want the schedule to get too off. Maybe I'll save in the next chapter till like Christmas week or something. Yeah, the epilogue is going to be an episode too. All the appendices are going to be episodes. I'm going to have a ton of stuff to write and think about and talk about with that. So we have a bunch of stuff. And then the Silmarillion, the letters, the epilogue, on fairy stories, Leaf by Niggle. We're going to read all of it. Yeah, Fatty Bulger does need his own book. Man. What a good chapter. I say that after every chapter, but truly, what a good chapter. Yeah, this is completely turned into a Lord of the Rings channel. That's why I just want to leave this as Lord of the Rings, because it just feels so appropriate to leave this as Lord of the Rings. And all the other channels will do other random stuff, but this is Lord of the Rings forever. I might bring up some like, Ursula into this, some like C.S. Lewis reads, but those are like very related to Tolkien. Some of the other stuff isn't so much. Like I don't want to do Game of Thrones. It feels different from Lord of the Rings. But I have the other channel if anybody wants to follow that. And then I'm going to do classics too. I actually legitimately might, because I don't have to deal with any copyright issues on books older than 100 years old, correct? So I can legitimately just read those on stream and not have to worry about anything. So I might start doing Pride and Prejudice. And whenever I get that channel down, I will post it in the Discord, and anybody that wants to follow that channel, you can. But I might do Pride and Prejudice later. I might read like the first chapter or so later, because I want to start thinking about that one. So if anyone wants to, you can join the Discord right here. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice is public domain. I love books that are public domain. So I'm going to do that and start thinking. That'd be like our book club. Everyone for the month of December. I mean, we're halfway through December. Maybe the month of December and January, we'll read Pride and Prejudice and think about it and talk about it together. So that'll be fun. But thanks for joining on the live read, guys. I really love doing these. These are so fun. I definitely will get to the Iliad and the Odyssey, especially with the Odyssey movie coming out. I'm pretty pumped for that. Ooh, a good D&D session. I love that. That's so fantastic. Rowling versus Tolkien on body counts for body count's sake, for Merry and Pippin versus Fred and George. Honestly, yeah. You're familiar saving the day so hard. I love that. There's a D&D campaign going on right now in the Discord. I don't know if they have one spot left. It's been going on about Pride and Prejudice for years. Do you like it or not? I have read some C.S. Lewis, but I haven't read Narnia since elementary school, or like maybe I read that in middle or high school. I forgot when I read that. Don't remember much about it. So I'll probably read that. If I do C.S. Lewis, I'll do it on this channel, but I probably won't get there for a while. And I'm going to do the Space Trilogy for sure. I don't know if I'll do the Space Trilogy here. Eventually, I'm not going to start this yet because I don't have time, but I want to do like, I want to do sci-fi. Like I would love to get through Dune. Not get through. I would love to read Dune. And, what's the other one? Isaac Asimov's The Foundation. And so maybe I'll do Lewis's Space Trilogy on like a sci-fi channel or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Lord of the Potter, that comedically compares Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. I would love that. Send me that video. If you're in the Discord, throw it in the Discord. You like Great Expectations? I remember reading that, and I think that was one of the Dickens book that I liked more. I was talking about this with some other people. I honestly want to go through all of Jane Austen's books and read those. Maybe we'll do that for the next year. The greatest sentence ever written, 2001 Space. It's 2001 Space Odyssey. Sorry, stuff got into the way. It's life stuff though. Nandela, deal. I'll start doing that. Yeah, there were some tears. There were some tears that came. I love that. Yeah, Mistborn, that's going to come out as soon as I finish Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm actually going to finish the books. So it'll probably come out in the new year. Mistborn Era 2 and some Sanderson stuff. I'll have more time in the new year. I know. I think a lot of other books are going to be disappointing. But I do love a good read. You just have to go in with different expectations. Like, I'm not reading Sanderson with the expectation that it's going to be Tolkien's work. That's why I don't have a ton of essays that I can write after that. But there's like, even like some other books that I'm reading. Like currently, there's like I love Harry Potter. I think it's a great series. I think it's so fun. But you can write a bunch of stuff on it. There's like interesting things in each chapter, but it's not to the obviously depths of J.R. Tolkien and what he writes and like how many things you can talk about and consider in that. Oh, Gravel Nerd, thanks for the €10. Appreciate you. Lord of the Potter. Preface to Paradise Lost helps explain Perlandria and the abolition of man is crucial to understanding that hideous strength. I'm guessing those are books. Okay, Nandela, I'm excited then. I'm really excited to read. It's going to be fun. 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay. Hot take. Harry Potter is a Lord of the Rings ripoff and pretty bad. I don't think it's a ripoff of a Lord of the Rings. I think she stole a lot of things from Lord of the Rings, obviously. But that's probably all like mythology and fantasy. You're probably stealing from each other for everything. There's very few. I don't think there's that much original fantasy. But I do think it is a great series. I think people discount the fact that it's written for children. I think it's a great children's series. Yeah, every single fantasy book is stolen from Lord of the Rings. And Lord of the Rings probably stole, and like, Tolkien probably stole from, like, ancient myths and all the sorts of lore. Yeah, drew inspiration from it. Yeah, but, drew inspiration, stole. Yeah, I probably like Lord of the Rings better than Harry Potter right now. Because I think there's just like a depth of it, but at the same time, it's like your children. I can't really they're just different. When I read Lord of the Rings, I go on walks and I think about that for hours. Like I think about the lines that J.R. Tolkien wrote. It's like changing my life. When I read Harry Potter, it changed my life at one point, and I listen to it now because it's just so entertaining and so fun for me. And like I listen to it on my walks all the time. Like the second audiobook is coming out for Audible, and I'm so excited to just listen to that because it's just like a joy that I have. Like I just love it so much. So it's just like different tones of reading, I think. It's very different from, I don't think you can really compare those two, to be honest. Haven't read Harry Potter, don't intend to. That's okay. Perlandria and THS are in the second and third books of the Space Trilogy. Yeah, I'm excited to actually read the Space Trilogy. If you like Austen, you'll like Rowling. Interesting, I love that. Yeah, Tolkien stole from Arthurian legend, for sure. Everyone steals from each other in some way. Good stealing, borrows from each other. But yeah, there's so many good books out there. I've said this before. This is like a sad thing that I think and believe on all. And like, this is a sad little note, but I get sad at the fact that I will die and there will be books written that are incredible, unbelievable books that I will never be able to experience or be a part of. And I think about that all the time with people who have died before, like Lord of the Rings was published or before Harry Potter. I'm like, there's so much joy in those series. And that's why I don't ever like in my channels just like overly criticizing something and like, just saying, oh, this is crap because it's, not as good as X, Y, or Z. Because I just like taking joy in things that you love. And so it's just so fun to me to be able to, like, Harry Potter is totally different from Lord of the Rings, but I have so much joy for the Harry Potter series. So much joy for the Lord of the Rings series now too. It's bringing me so much enjoyment. And I'm like, I'd rather get interested in the things that I love than, like, read something and be like, nah, it's not like Tolkien. This stinks. Yeah, they're just different things. Everyone's writing for different audiences for different things. Yeah, Nemo, I'm kind of with you. Word to Big Bird. That's what you used to say in middle school. Will you stream your second read too? Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to stream the second read. I'll probably stream as many reads as I can. Also, someone had a question, I am well read, but I'm only now just getting to Tolkien. I was talking about early in the stream. I'm well read with modern literature, not really for classics, and not really for like, not really for like even the classics like the Iliad, like not even for that much of Shakespeare. Like, I was a bit of a snooty reader, so I got into reading. Let me talk about my reading experience, and then I'll end the stream so you guys can all go about your days and enjoy. I don't know, a useless English lit degree. I don't think it's useless. I think it's still great, but it's not very useful, which I think is useful in life. I would love to go back and get a PhD in English lit. And then, like, legitimately right now, I'd love to do something in Tolkien, but there's just too much time in a PhD that I don't have. But I would, so when I fell in love with reading. I fell in love with a good story in high school when I was not a big reader, but I started reading, like, Harry Potter, and I was like, this is so fun. But before that, I was never a huge reader. I was in elementary school. Like, I loved a good book and loved reading, but didn't read a ton. I was more like a sports kid. And then in high school, we read To Kill a Mockingbird. And that was the first story that I was blown away with how good of a story that was, and how much I was, like, enmeshed in this story. And I remember sitting there going, if stories are this good and this well told, then I just want to read every story. And I didn't necessarily immediately start becoming a reader after that, but I read Harry Potter because I really was such a fan of that. And it was such a fun time to read Harry Potter too, because things like, she was still publishing the book. So I picked up the series when she had finished the fourth book, and she was just coming out with the fifth book. And so when I finished the fourth book, I remember I immediately went to go pick up the fifth book because she had just published that, and I had to wait. And it was just fun because we just got to, like, sit and debate in forums and talk about, like, fan theories. Like, what I talk about a lot of times with Lord of the Rings, how it's, like, so fun to think about yourself reading Lord of the Rings for the first time, not knowing any movies or anything that's coming out, like immediately getting those books and just reading them and experiencing that for the first time. That's what my experience was like with Harry Potter, which is why Harry Potter will be so dear to my heart. And then when I was in college, I read The Count of Monte Cristo on my dad's recommendation, because I wasn't like a huge reader. I liked books then, but I wasn't like getting through a book a month. It was like, I'll read like a good series or two, or like a good story, like once every like season. So I wasn't a huge reader still, but then I read The Count of Monte Cristo and just became ravenous with stuff. I was like, that's one of the best books I've ever read. It was so good. I don't remember a lot about that, so I got to reread that. Actually, it'd be fun to do on a reread. And then when I was graduated, that's when I went on a tear with reading, and I read all modern literature. So I had a literary professor who she was just like, she was brilliant, and she just gave me a bunch of recommendations, a bunch of authors, and I just started tearing through those and fell in love with a lot of modern authors. And I just went, like, I was on like a 2 books a week pace. I would read all the time. Like, anytime that I had time, I would just read. And I'll get through, like, I think there was like a 2-year period of time where I probably got through like 150 to 200 books. And that was only modern literature. It was like Pulitzer Prize winners, National Book Award winners. It was just everything. Like, all the writers were alive and living at that time. And I really enjoyed that. But then I got into different phases. Then I started reading memoirs, because I really love memoirs. And then I started reading like some more historical stuff, but no, I didn't get deep into historical fiction. And so I went on like phases, and then it like ebbed and flowed, and I would still like putter around at books. I wasn't on that crazy pace that I was, but I was still reading a bunch, but not like as much as I used to. But I never really picked up some of the old classics, or like some of those were really. I did occasionally. Like I would read like I had a few. I had Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations. I tried to read A Crime and Punishment. I tried to read Vanity Fair. Didn't get into Vanity Fair. Like I have a few other classics there that I like tried to get into. But I read a few of them, the classics, but I don't like have a great memory of them. So that's why I wanted to like do a classics channel, get into some of the classics, because Tolkien is making me realize how good old authors are. So that's my journey. Tale of Two Cities was good, but I didn't think it was like, I liked Great Expectations a lot more, because I remember when I was initially reading it, I read two Dickens. I read those two books. And I didn't love A Tale of Two Cities. I loved Great Expectations way more because it was more approachable, and I had to read Tale of Two Cities, and I remember sitting there reading, and like I was stuck on the same page for like 20 minutes. I was like, what am I reading? It was just in one ear, out the other. Didn't really like, it didn't stick with me. But it's a great end. It's a great last chapter. He greatly disliked Great Expectations. Yeah, Lonesome Dove, that's another one. That's on my list. There's a bunch that are on my list. I don't think so. I'm not like a snoot with reading anymore. I don't think today's book market is that sad. I think there's some people that are still publishing great stuff, but it's just like time. Like there's a bunch of people that were publishing during Tolkien's time, and the good ones all fade with time. So you just need time to be able to sort out some of the good and the bad. I still think there's some great authors that are publishing today. If anyone has not read anything by Marilynne Robinson, she's probably my favorite living author. I think she's one of the greatest writers of all time. Her stories are so boring. She will not write an entertaining story for anything. But her writing is unbelievable. So if you're a writing snob, go read some of her words. She is like J.R. Tolkien, but writing bad, boring stories. Like the actual writing and the structure of it. She's an unbelievable writer. Unbelievable, but a terrible, terrible storyteller. Except one of her stories is decent. Gilead, which won the Pulitzer, is a decent story. Same thing is I do think there's good writers today. I don't think I could ever say that there's bad writers. You look at like Barbara Kingsolver. She's a phenomenal writer today. Same thing, Jeffrey Eugenides. Some of these people who are writing stories today are writing unbelievable stories. But they're just not, they just haven't like passed the test of time yet. So in like 100 years, like Middlesex, the Poisonwood Bible, those books are going to like stand out. Even like Demon Copperhead, like it's Barbara Kingsolver's rewrite of David Copperfield, and that book is phenomenal. It's a great book. It's not my favorite of hers, but it's still really good. Little Women, I did not like Little Women all that much. The volume of books being published has certainly increased, but the percentage of good books being printed is the same. Agreed. Yeah, we romanticize older because, yeah, agreed. Fully agreed on that. Farmer Giles of Ham. It's a short story written by Tolkien. I'm going to read everything from Tolkien eventually. We're going to get there eventually. Like, no stone will be unturned for our reading of Tolkien. Yeah, Cordy, I do agree with you on that. There was some tough. It was a tough read. He's a very descriptive writer. You'd rather shank yourself than read Shannara again? I've heard Piranesi is a great book. I asked two of my friends who read it, and they were like, no, don't read it. They were like, we were bored by the first like 100 pages. So they gave up, but I keep hearing that's a great book. I'm going to rent it or loan it from my library. There's some Tolkien I could skip. We'll get there when we get there. As soon as I finish this, you guys have to just guide me through good Tolkien and bad. And I'm just gonna read it. I want to read everything because I want to like gain my own opinions of everything. But there's some good books being published out there. There's a lot more, so you just gotta wade through the crap and find the good stuff. Some of History of Middle Earth are just drafts for Lord of the Rings. I still would love to read that though. I still think that's so interesting. Yeah, Le Guin. I keep hearing good things about Le Guin. I haven't really read much of her. Again, my reading experience is like a lot of people who were just the last like 50 years were alive. And that was pretty much it. So my reading experience is weird. It's like I'm well read, but like not well read at all. And then I did go into a phase, and I'm still in this phase of reading good children's literature. Children's picture books. That might make me sound childish, but a good children's picture book, there's nothing better. There's legitimately nothing better. There are some authors who are writing children's picture books who are some of the greatest authors of all time. I'm convinced of it. Barbara Cooney, I wish more than anything in life that she wrote a novel. Her picture books are just unbelievable. I don't know why I didn't start with The Hobbit, to be honest. I don't think I started The Hobbit because I don't know why we didn't start with The Hobbit. I think about that. Yeah, I'm pumped that's the next book we're going to get into. After we finish Lord of the Rings, the appendices, we'll get into The Hobbit. I'm so excited for The Hobbit. So excited. It's going to be great. Robert Munsch. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, he's so good. Oliver Jeffers is my current favorite. He's so good. But there's some great ones. There's some great ones. Le Guin is more cerebral. I don't mind cerebral authors, but sometimes I don't mind cerebral authors. I do mind I do mind authors who are abstract. So I don't think if you're an abstract author, you're not necessarily a good author. Cerebral and abstract are very different to me. Yeah, Beatrix Potter. I still kind of think that E.B. White is one of the best authors ever. I think E.B. White is unbelievable. I need to write my thoughts on why I think children's authors are the best authors of all time. Maybe I'll publish an essay on that sometime. Anyway, man, that was a good chapter, guys. I'm gonna say that for every chapter. Carmelo Anthony? Cormallen Anthony? Gosh, Ryan comes in with the terrible Carmelo Anthony jokes. So we were just talking about Pride and Prejudice. That's the only Jane Austen that I've read, but I read it so long ago that I do not remember anything. I mean, I remember some of it based off the movies, but I remember more of it based off the movies than anything else. So that's a good segue. This is how I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna go start a new channel right now. This is ridiculous that I'm starting another channel. But I just like reading and I like talking about books. I'm trying to make this my life. It'd be so fun. And I'm going to start a new channel and I'm going to do First Timers Classics. I don't have a better name than that. First Timers Classics. And I'm just going to read Pride and Prejudice and publish some essays on that. But I might do a live read of the first chapter or something like that. That would probably happen later. Maybe after I take Wes for a walk or something. But yeah, E.B. White is the best. E.B. White's my favorite. Maybe we can read some E.B. White on there. Some people, hate Pride and Prejudice and they're wrong. AKA Ryan. I was thinking about reading her stuff in order of publication, but I think I'm just going to read it in popularity. Probably Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility. Did she write Emma? Who wrote Jane Eyre? What's her name? Gosh, why can't I think? Yeah, one of the Brontes. Charlotte. Good old Charlotte. People said that I would really love that book, but I haven't read it. So we're going to start reading some classics, guys. And all those books are just like public domain, so I'm pumped to just read those. Currer Bell, Charlotte Bronte, yeah. Currer Bell? Was that her pseudonym? Independent works in publication order. Interesting that you tried that with Shakespeare and didn't like it. Every Reese Witherspoon film is based on Jane Austen. I love that. Yeah, I'm pumped to read. We'll see. And one of the things that I love doing too, because like my ultimate goal is like just turning all this into book clubs. We just get to like read a book a month and just like chat and talk about it on like streams and like, you know, discords and stuff like that. One thing that I want to do is talk about just like do a book club with, specifically, that's why like we'll do a soft launch with Pride and Prejudice. We'll for this December, for the rest of December and January, we'll read through Pride and Prejudice and just chat about it. Have like little book clubs and Discord and all that kind of stuff. But I have so many questions and I have so many things that I just want to sit and talk with you guys about. That's like the thing that I'm most interested in, I love reading books with other people now. That's like my latest obsession. So like getting your guys' takes and your opinions on things. Like you guys help me out with Lord of the Rings so much, and even just like formulate some of these essays. So it's fun to just continue to just do that with other books. Book club sounds familiar. Yeah, there's a secret one, a non-secret one though. So that's where I'm gonna end the stream. I'm gonna go make another channel. I'll just share it on Discord and on the YouTube, and then maybe we'll get to the sand. Probably not on the classics channel, because I don't think he's a classic writer. But we'll get there eventually. Yeah, enjoy yours. Yeah, enjoy your time in blessedness. Me and Wessedness will walk in blessedness. That should be how I end videos now. And go enjoy a walk with Wessedness and blessedness. Little Lady Susan, okay. I'll come up with a list. We'll come up with a good list. She's got a lot of good stuff written. It's a truth universally acknowledged that a first timer in want of a good time will always listen to John. All right, I love that. All right, everyone. I'll see you guys. See you guys in the next one. See you guys soon. What a good chapter. Got lots of essays coming out. And everyone, as always, say goodbye to the lady of all of our hearts, Lady Galadriel. What a cutie.